Welcome back, Spurs fans, to the Hepler football channel. Today we're doing our top 5 ponderings to see if the Spurs can make it into European competition next season. And to start off, we're going to look at what we predicted the Spurs would be at the end of the season from last week. So each week this can change based on results for Spurs and the other teams we're fighting against for that top 5 spots. So looking at it, it looks like last week we expect the Spurs to finish 7th. And that's behind Chelsea, Liverpool, West Ham, and Leicester City. So currently the Spurs are in 7th place with 53 points. There's 5 matches left, total of 15 points available. Our next match is against Sheffield United on Wednesday. Or excuse me, not Wednesday. Sunday. We're done with midweek games, by the way. We've been out of the competition for a while. And just a little reminder of what we do here. So I took and broke the season up into quarters. And the first 2 quarters are made up of 9 matches each. And then the last 2 quarters are made up of 10 matches each. And obviously we're in the last quarter of the season with 5 matches remaining. And so I took a lot of stats and numbers and crunch them all together and then take that and figure out what remaining schedule we have, and that's how I come up with what we will have for points wise at the end of the season. I do the same for all the teams that Spurs are competing against for that top 5 and the European competition spots, and I built in a margin of error of about 3 points. So for give a little review on what's going on here with the Spurs. In their last 5 matches, in the Premier League, we've gone 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. So nothing outstanding. And in the last 5 matches, Spurs have collected 8 out of 15 points. If we compare that to the main teams that we're competing against to get in that top 5 spot, which is Chelsea, West Ham, and Liverpool. Chelsea's collected 8 out of 15 in their last 5. West Ham's collected 7 out of 15 in their last 5. And Liverpool's actually collected 11 out of 15 in their last 5. And that's what's propelled Liverpool above us. A few weeks ago, it was looking pretty certain that we would finish above Liverpool. But with our continued lackluster efforts and play and not collecting many points, and then Liverpool's come on, and so they've leapfrogged us in the last predicted ponderings. So now we take a look at a longer snapshot. The last 15 matches, Spurs have only collected 20 out of 45 points. That's not a good ratio. It's not even half the points available that we've collected in the last 15 matches. Now we compare that to Chelsea. They've collected 29 out of 45. West Ham's collected 26 out of 45. So both of them are doing significantly better than us. And then we compare that to Liverpool, where they've collected 20 out of 45. More similar to what we've done, only they've been on a better short-term stretch, which has allowed them, again, to propel up ahead of us. So if we take a look at where things are at, as far as 4th quarter stats for last week, we were still trailing in the indicators that tell us whether we need to catch these teams. We were trailing predominantly West Ham and Leicester City and Liverpool. Chelsea had fallen back in the near term. So and that was based on last week's results. So after all the matches this past weekend, with the new stats, we haven't gained any ground. Of course, we didn't play this past weekend. We played midweek last week. And the other teams have actually kind of picked up some ground again, except for West Ham's come back a little bit. So there's not a lot of time left, and things are looking pretty dicey. We have picked up a little steam on a couple of teams, but some other teams have propelled themselves more so than us. So this is definitely not looking great for us. Now, if we look at the longer term scenario, which is basically combining the third and fourth quarter together, which is 15 matches now, and we look at last week's stats, we were kind of hanging in there with Liverpool. We were definitely doing better than Everton and Aston Villa, but Chelsea, West Ham, and Leicester all were significantly doing better than the rest of us. And after last weekend's matches, it's really not changed that much. Even with West Ham taking the loss, we're still not catching that much with them. And that's not a good place to be in, especially with us, only having 5 matches remaining. Liverpool can be argued that they have the easiest remaining schedule left of any Premier League team, at least anyone in the top 10 that's trying to get into that top 5. And it just doesn't bode well for the Spurs right now. And something to consider too is, as far as Everton and Aston Villa, they all have a game on hand on all the other teams that you see here. So that's kind of a scary proposition too, because that can make it even more difficult for us to push up if they start pushing. But if you look at the statistics, we're in a little bit better shape than Everton and Aston Villa as far as that goes, because they both concede more goals than they put in. So the likelihood that they're going to be able to continue to get consistent points going forward is not good. Ours isn't great because our margin of error is very small. But when you look at Chelsea and Leicester, their margin of error is much greater in being able to score goals and to give up goals. So it's just the way it is. So if we look at take all that, throw it into a bucket, and as we said, last week we projected the Spurs to be 7th. So now, with all the new numbers, how does this all shake out? Let me know what you all think. If the Spurs are going to finish top 5, looking at the remaining schedule, not just for the Spurs, but for all the other teams that are involved. Because that, has a lot to do with whether the Spurs can even make it or not. Because if no one's dropping points, we can't catch up, no matter how well we do if they don't drop points. So someone's got to drop points somewhere. And Spurs have to basically win out, in my opinion. But from all my projections and stuff, and all the number crunching, I still have the Spurs finishing 7th. Just behind, just behind Liverpool, a couple points behind them. What does happen now is Everton is now moving up closer to us. And the only reason we finish above them in this scenario is because of goal differential. So they've actually closed the gap with us. And it doesn't look good. And so, the top 3, 4, 5 are still Leicester, Chelsea, and West Ham. And it's really going to be, in my opinion, West Ham and Chelsea fighting it out to see who gets 4th or 5th. And even with Liverpool being able to have the easiest schedule going forward, I don't think they can collect enough points. And I don't think West Ham and Chelsea are going to drop enough points for them to move up into that top 5 at this point in time. Now, things can change after this weekend's matches and stuff. Like I said, we got Sheffield coming up. It's a should-win game. It's a must-win game. But who knows with these guys? You don't know what Spurs team's going to show up. So, it's not looking great. But, you never know. That's why you play every match. And you keep playing till you're just completely mathematically eliminated. And we're not completely mathematically eliminated yet. But if these teams above us don't kind of stumble, although I don't see that happening too much, especially with the way they've been playing, their schedules, and things like that. The only team up above us that we're fighting with that's in any kind of competition is Chelsea. Both West Ham is not in any kind of competition, and neither is Liverpool. So that gives them the opportunity to rest through the week too. And the likelihood is they won't be dropping matches or stumbling quite as much. But let me know what you all think in the comments down below. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Let's build this channel up and have good conversations and engage with each other. And let's hope we have a good result this weekend. Come on, you Spurs.